Welcome into the Lounge, presented by DraftKings. I'm Ryan Mink, here with Garrett Downing, and we are thrilled to sit down with kicker Tyler Loop and Ravens kicking coach Randy Brown. Thank you guys for joining us. We've been looking to have you on for a little while now. Glad to make it happen. And Tyler, I'll start with you. So, as we all know, you're learning a lot during your rookie season. That's kind of part of it. And cold, windy Cleveland, great place to learn things. And as we saw, you learned a very important lesson of how to put on a jacket with no sleeves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I was never fortunate enough in college when we had cold games to get one of those. And I thought, I was sitting there like trying to put my arms through it and I couldn't find it. And then I saw the pocket and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. So
That's what the vets are there for, right? To coach you on these kind of things.
Yeah. But, sometimes you just got to let it happen. You get gold on a camera. So
not too many cold games in Arizona, I'm sure.
Yeah, not too many. Yeah. But we had a few where we went and played like Washington State up in Pullman, playing at University of Washington, Oregon, like those games. Utah gets cold as well, but other than that, it was pretty nice weather.
Yeah, nice. But in all seriousness, those were tough conditions Sunday in Cleveland. Yeah. Very difficult place to kick. You make all three of your field goals, both your extra points. Just make a clutch 44-yarder late in the fourth quarter to tie the game up. Just how good did it feel to knock down those kicks in that environment?
It was good. We talked a lot. From the day I got here was all about the first 8-9 weeks of the season, you'll be fine. But the one that we got to prepare for is the back half of the season when you're playing in Cleveland and in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and those places where weather's pretty unpredictable. It's gonna be windy. It's gonna be cold. So, we were working on hitting a ball that survives that weather in April and May when we first got here. So, going out and doing it, that was fun.
Right. So this was almost like this Cleveland game was like the start of the season for you in some ways.
Pretty much.
Wow, yeah. That's interesting.
I was watching the two of you guys during warm-ups, and it was really windy in warm-ups. It actually felt like the wind died off a touch as the game went along, maybe. But in warm-ups, it almost looked like you were hitting you were playing into the wind at times. I'm just curious how you felt during warm-ups, and also, Randy, could you walk us through, when it's a really windy, you're so regimented about, what you do during these pregame warm-ups, what that process is to get used to kicking in that type of environment?
First of all, it's an honor to be here on the lounge.
You do it all for.
After 18 years here at the Ravens, have a chance to sit with you two gentlemen on the lounge.
Finally begged you, and you finally said yes.
Finally, 18 years of asking, and I finally relented, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, been banging down your door.
You guys do a great job, and part of our social media team, everything. You guys are outstanding.
Thank you.
So, what we do is, I've been fortunate enough to, have coached probably 20 games in that stadium in Cleveland. 20 some in Pittsburgh and same in Cincinnati. And all I can do is try to share my knowledge with the kicker, with Tyler. And what we were doing is, what you do is you kick the ball into different areas and quadrants of the uprights to see how the ball reacts. Mm-hmm. So then that way, as the game's going on, you can see, to your point, the speed of which the wind is. That determines then where his target line is going to be. Mm-hmm. So his target line will change depending on what the wind is. Because you're right, there was some of that wind during pregame was, we have a thing, him and I say, is we never want to give the uprights away, meaning we never want to kick a ball outside the uprights. Mm-hmm. Because if you're in that situation and the wind has died, and as strong as he kicks the ball, that ball stays straight, that ball misses the uprights. So we try to keep everything inside the uprights. So he was experimenting. We were experimenting with the lean. We were experimenting with where he's making foot-to-ball contact, and then where the target was. And that's what you were seeing. And it's funny because you see from the outside, and some people covering is, oh, so-and-so missed this in pregame, or so-and-so only hit from this far. All pregame really is just an experimental time for us in windy situations.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you come out of pregame, and let's look at the Cleveland game, do you come out of there feeling like, okay, I've got a feel for this, or do you come out of it feeling like, all right, it's going to be kind of dicey today because this is a windy situation? How do you leave pregame feeling about what the impact is going to be on a game?
So like he said, pregame's all about experimenting, but it's also like getting ready. So one thing that Nick and Jordan have really helped me with is talking about using pregame as like just knowing that you're ready. So when I'm out there kicking off the sticks or the tee or when he's holding for me, that's when we're experimenting trying to get a feel of the wind, and we'll get a pretty good one of that. But then when I kick with Nick and Jordan, that whole process is just to say like, hey, I know I've done these kicks, like I'm ready to go. So by the end of pregame, like typically we know because we do it every day in practice. We do it, every pregame, it's the same regiment. And so by the end of that, we're like, yeah, we're ready.
I heard your hat blew off or something as you were going to the game.
Yeah.
You almost lost it.
Yeah. I like walked out of the hotel and I was walking up to the bus and I had a hat on backwards and it just like flew off. And I think it literally made like 20 yards and the gentleman like ran and got it for me. And I was like, dude, thanks so much. I get in the bus and Harb is like, I was like, you saw that? And so
it's going to be interesting today.
I was like, let's go.
Well, if you guys remember, the last 2-3 weeks we've had here has been so windy.
Right.
And, we have the best practice facility in the National Football League. I've said it. But what it does is that gives us real life conditions out back. So I frustrated him a little bit this week. And we kicked a lot of balls into the wind, side winds. And, I think that one day we're out there had to be 25, 30 miles per hour when we were going into it. But what it does is he does such a really good job in, you want to take we call it the apex. We want to take that apex and be able to move it up and down, which there's not many skilled kickers around the NFL who have the ability to change the height of which they kick a ball.
And that's to, if the winds are swirling up high, you want to keep it lower to keep it out of the wind and whatnot.
Absolutely. Right. And, and there's sometimes, we don't mind having a good apex because that means he's really struck the ball well.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of experimenting, a lot of frustration at times from him. But we had a good time with it. And he learned a lot. And no matter what you say about where we play in the AFC North, yes, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati are tough places to play.
Yeah.
In all my years, kicking at the bank is the hardest place in the National Football League to kick a football.
And why is that?
So it's undergone changes, obviously aesthetically, which has been beautiful now. But when you add all the screens and you close off the 4 quadrants, which we used to have open, and then with us being so close to the harbor, it's a changeable wind. And now it's almost become a swirling type wind. Where honestly, pregame, I kind of laugh because the visiting kickers get in here and they have no idea what they're doing. So when you think of it, before Matt Gay, that game he hit like 4 field goals when he played the Colts and he beat us 4 over 50. We had gone almost 7-8 years where an opponent did not kick a field goal over 50 yards in our stadium.
Wow, I hadn't realized that.
But almost eight years with an opponent. Now lately, we've been a couple guys have hit it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard, especially longer distance field goals.
Do you love to free the nuggets at the bank when the opposing kicker misses a field goal? I've got a lot of chicken nuggets this way.
Yeah, you've got a lot of them. It's not a great place to kick.
Well, I remember, Tyler, when the Ravens first drafted you, there were a lot of pundits out there that talked about, well, he was from Arizona, he kicked in Arizona. How is he going to deal with these weather conditions? That was like one of the questions. So did this game and the week of practice leading up to it, did it kind of prove something to you, to both of you, about like, what, and you said you kicked in cold before, but like that, yes, I can handle this being a kicker for the Ravens in these kind of conditions.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it proved anything we didn't already know.
Yeah.
I'd say it confirmed things we knew,
yeah.
Well, I guess that's the same. How do I say it?
Well, you knew you could do
like
it.
there weren't doubts of like we are capable of doing this. It did just confirm, like for us, we knew going into that, like that the ball that we hit can hold up in that. Arizona, it's warm and it's beautiful most of the year, but there's a season we call it monsoon season, and I mean you'll have days where there's these storms that call them a haboob, and they come through and it's like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds.
Oh, wow.
And so we'll be out practicing in that. So that like sets you up for the wind. And then, growing up in Texas, like you play playoff football and it's high 20s, low 30s, super windy because Texas has nothing. So there's been a lot of times where I've kicked in that weather. But there's also just a confidence, like we use this thing called TrackMan. and tracks all like the metrics. It's been an awesome tool for us. But one of the things you see is like the ball speed and the end over end rotation. Like you can kind of toy around with what ball is going to cut the wind really well. And so that's been a good tool for us to really figure out and just know like we have this.
Interesting. So you can get it spinning faster to cut through the wind better?
Well, you don't want it spinning too fast because remember, the more revolutions, the more the wind resistance hit it. So you almost want to hit a little slower ball.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't want to hit it high and fast because then the wind gets to knock it down.
Gotcha.
And if we piggyback and go back to, I coached in Chicago and the Chicago Bears, and I was in Soldier Field before it was big. So, I had Jeff Jager, which you had to kick a lower ball. You had to kick a better trajectory ball. And this whole thing, Coach Harbaugh and I have been together, I think 21 seasons now. And in Philadelphia, we had David Akers in a hard place to kick at the link. And John always stressed, Randy, just teach him to kick a straight ball. Teach him to kick a straight ball. And all I've ever coached was kicking a straight ball and win. So I've coached in Chicago, Philadelphia, and now in Baltimore in all my years in the NFL. So when we were in search of a new kicker, we had to just find a guy who could strike a straight ball. So your question was a good question, but I know there were some people frustrated in April, May, June, July, and August because we weren't out there bombing 60-yarders, and I had Tyler just kicking 40-yarders, and some of the pundits are like, well, they tried 9 field goals, but they were all under 44. Well, guess what? This year, 79% of our kicks have been under 40 yards, and I think the extra points, now that we've moved them back to 33-yard field goals, they're 33-yard field goals. Let's call them what they are. So that ball has to be struck differently than when you used to be able to kick an extra point from 20 yards.
Right.
So our goal was to find a guy who could kick a straight ball. And I don't care where he played because he kicked a straight ball. And we've been working on that ball. The ball we kicked on Sunday, it's the ball we started on at rookie minicamp in May.
I'm curious along those lines. So in terms of the mechanics of it, and I learned this about you during your very first press conference right after you were drafted, and I could tell that you love talking like the mechanics. And you even said that when you and Randy met during the pre-draft process, you kind of nerded out over kicking mechanics and that type of thing. So did you have to change your swing at all to kick the straight ball? Was it more just refining mechanics? Is it just continuing what you're doing? Like, walk me through that process.
I'd say it's just a lot of refinement. Like if you go up and look in his office, that first month, that office was just a whole drawing board of like every idea.
It was like Russell Crowe, Beautiful Minds in our office. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, we put up everything you could think of on there when it comes to just like what do you need to achieve to hit that straight ball, and we kind of narrowed it down to like 5 objectives by the end of OTAs and like football school, and really now every time we look at film, like we just have a process that we look at, like how does the plant look? Actually, even going back further, like the one thing that's really in your control as a kicker is how far you are from the ball. And like we talked about it the very first time, I was like, if I'm at 114 to 115 inches from the ball, like that is my sweet spot. That's where I'm going to have the most control.
114 to 150, like that, how precise that is.
Well, you guys have seen us with the measurings, with the tape measures out there, right?
Yeah.
And people have written about it, but that's what our tool that makes him feel good. Where he's at.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. You continue the other aspects of kicking a straight ball.
So we know like athletically, that's just where I'm most comfortable with.
Yep.
It's like, let's hit that first. Next thing we want to do is make sure the plant is the same distance, the same like direction, pointing straight downfield to your target. Then you want to match up foot position. And then we want to look for, like, we talk about a lot, the swing plane. So you never want to see, too early your foot kind of leave out of your left shoulder in your finish downfield. And so now every time we break down film, it's like if I had a straight ball, chances are that all those objectives got checked off. And so we just kind of became obsessed with that. Of every time we went out and kicked, it was like, okay, steps, plant, foot to ball, swing. Steps, plant, foot to ball, swing. And that was just, and even now, like, it's all we look at.
We still do. I mean, and for everybody who's watching and listening, that you've played baseball, all right, or you've played golf, when you play baseball, you pretty much put your feet in the same exact spot in the batter's box. You don't each time you go up change it. Like, oh, maybe I'll try this time. When you're playing golf, your distance is about the same. You're playing the ball maybe off your inside foot, maybe the middle, maybe the back. Where it's each different club has a different shot. So what I love about him is his ability to be technical, but not be technical. We always call paralysis by analysis. He's not so overly technical that before each kick he's nerding out in his mind. No, we have these principles that we kick by, and I've done with all the kickers we've had. You're principled going in. This is what works for us, because there is going to be days where your body doesn't feel right. Or maybe you just had a bad day. Maybe you didn't sleep well that night and the body just doesn't feel right. So what do? We have to go back to, what are we successful? This is where we plant. This is where we hit the ball. This is where we swing. Are we hitting the ball on our fourth lace or our third lace today? Are we hitting the ball a little higher than our fourth lace? What are we doing?
Right.
I want to go through the draft process, and this is the big joke during the process leading into the draft was, where in the world is Randy Brown? You were all over the place. You were looking at all these kickers, and so that was your assignment. Even we talked to Eric DaCosta soon after the draft, and he even made the point that, like, look, I scout, like, I'm not a kicking scout. Like, I really leaned on Randy in this regard. So first of all, how much pressure did you feel to find the right guy? In that process, as you were going through, like, how much pressure did you feel like, I got to nail this thing?
I'm going to go back to when I start with it pressure wise. I was mayor of my town for 12 years, a job that I loved and I held. I had 50,000 people in my town. I dealt with death. I dealt with murders. I dealt with suicides. I dealt with people who couldn't turn their electric on, the people whose young sons or young daughters OD'd in their bathroom. I dealt with some real life issues. And it really has changed the way that I look at sports and the way that I coach football. I don't feel pressure. I don't feel pressure during games. I don't feel pressure during practice. And I sure as heck didn't feel pressure in trying to find, who the next kicker was. In dealing with real life issues like I've had to deal with, it puts a different perspective on sports. That saying, it was such a great challenge. I loved every minute of it. And I love the autonomy that Harbs and Eric and George and Mark Acevedo and our whole team here were able to give me. Not only do I run the specialist showcase with my son Tyler, who's a specialist assistant in Philadelphia, but the ability to go out to the Big 12 Pro Day, which he didn't show up because he was too important to show up to the Big 12 Pro Day.
You big timed?
He big timed the Big 12 Pro Day.
I did what I needed to do.
You got here. That's all that matters.
I was forced to go to spend a couple days in Tucson and Phoenix. Such a shame. It was just awful. So, I was lucky enough to see him at the specialist showcase. I probably worked out 30 kickers. I probably interviewed about 30 to 40 on the phone or in person. And the one kick that stands out is we're at the specialist showcase, which we've turned it into a competition now. And so each team has 7 specialists, 8 specialists on each team. And you were playing for Bones' team. Mm-hmm. Bones Fossil, who's the coach at Titans, was playing against my son's team. So he goes ahead and his team's down by 1. This is in Indianapolis in front of the entire NFL. His team's down by 1 with a snapper and holder he's never met until that day. And he goes ahead and hits a 60-yarder. And you can see the picture. My eyes are behind him like, wow. I'm standing next to Pat McAfee. Mm-hmm. Pat looked at me, I'm not going to use the same expletives, but it was like, holy cow, what a kick. So the moment he hit that, I'm like, oh, this might be my guy. And then Ryan Fitzgerald comes, the kid who just is at Carolina, just made the game winner this week. Ryan comes, and he hits a 60-yarder. So my son's team wins by 1, but he had made a great kick. So that kind of started me on my journey for Tyler Loop.
Mm-hmm. And when did you know? Like, when did you know that this was the guy that...
Well, it was the restaurant in Tucson, wasn't it?
So we went to
tell listeners that story.
We went to the restaurant in Tucson. So I went out to Tucson. We had a really good workout. It was like 110 degrees on the turf there. So we worked him out at Arizona. It was hot. So
very different from Cleveland.
Very. So we went out, and so usually it's like the same thing I did with Jordan Stout at Penn State. You try to take these guys out because they're always on their best behavior when they're around everybody else, right? But you go take them out, you talk to them on the phone, and then you kind of throw them, you probe some questions. It's like, are you really knowledgeable or you're not knowledgeable? So we went to what was the name of that restaurant we went to?
The Monica.
The Monica. It was a great restaurant. We ordered our food and we sat down, and then we started really going through the mechanics of kicking. Who have you worked with? You got to kind of find out who these guys have worked with, because there's different coaches. There are different guys who teach differently. Mm-hmm. So we went through it, and he was just remarkably intelligent on it. And then we kind of moved the table aside a little bit, and we went through his stroke and all. And I have the text still, and I text John at the end of that dinner that I think we found our guy.
That's awesome.
What was your memory of that whole process and the dinner? Like, did you have the same thoughts as you were going through that? Like, man, I hope it's the Ravens. I think this could be the fit. Like, what was your perspective on it?
I was just, I was surprised he asked for all flats when he ordered his wings.
I love flats, man.
I'm a flats guy too, actually.
There we go.
He's a high maintenance guy.
I am. No doubt.
No, I was like, for me, I was like, I'm going to get home field advantage here. I love the Monica, so I'm going to get home field advantage there and just be comfortable. But just sitting down and talking, like, I said this in the very first press conference, was I think something that's like cool and unique is sometimes you just find like a common thread that you agree on. And I think it's a good start for a lot of relationships, especially from coach to player. When you're talking mechanics of kicking and like all those things, we had a little bit different language for it, but when we sat down and actually broke down film, it was like, we're saying the same things that you want to see accomplished within a kick. And so after we got done with that, I was like, I love this, because, when I got to college, like I had 3 different head coaches, 4 different special teams coordinators, 3 different analysts. Like, you have a lot of people that are coaching you, and you have to learn to basically coach yourself. Like, if you want to be successful at the college level, you have to have the knowledge to coach yourself and deal with it. Because like he said, there's days where you just don't feel good. Right. And especially with college, like you get to midterms weeks or finals weeks. Now you're studying for, 3-4 exams, staying up late. Then you got to go to practice and perform. And now you've got a game. And so the coach that I grew up working with, he harped on it. Like from the first day I started working with my sophomore year, he's like, you have to know this stuff. Like you have to learn how to kick. You have to learn how to coach yourself. And you have to just fall in love with your mechanics. And so, to do that for 4 years and then finally sit down with a coach and just be like, this is what I do. This is why I do it. And for that to just click had me really excited. Cause like, okay, I love this. Like I'd love to, spend more time working on that and playing at the Ravens, and especially just like developing that game. So I left feeling really good. I remember I texted my fiance, and, someone tweeted this after I hit like a 62-yarder in college. They tweeted, Tyler Loop, you are a Baltimore Raven. And I sent that. I literally screenshotted it and I sent the tweet to my fiance, and she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I think I'm going to be a Raven after today.
This is before you even met Randy.
Well, so it was after dinner.
Okay.
It was after dinner.
Got you. Okay.
It was after dinner.
Yeah.
And the thing is like everybody's reaching out to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Randy, we saw this, or so we were attached to all these different kickers, which was great with me because I didn't want anybody knowing I liked him.
Right.
All right. So anybody call me, I'm like, I don't know about him. I don't know. I mean, did you see that miss, that 26-yard miss? I don't know. But I love so-and-so. I'm not going to say publicly who I kept saying I love.
Oh, you were throwing him off the set.
Oh, solely. And wait. And there was one of our local guys. Oh, I heard from a great source. This is who the number one guy. I'm like, you gotcha. So, draft day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys wanted to touch on draft day.
Yeah.
But so the night before the draft comes, and I'm like, Ty, I hope you're there because you're my guy, and I really hope we can pick you. And that morning, Eric came in and said, "Who was your guy?" And I said, "It's Tyler." And thankfully, Steve and John and Eric, especially Steve, was all in for drafting a kicker this year. And it was a little hairy at the end of the 5th round, beginning of the 6th, to say the least.
Yeah.
It was a little hairy. And then when New England came up to pick a kicker, and they didn't take Tyler, which was a little surprising because the special teams coach at New England was Tyler's special teams coach for
Recruited me to Arizona.
To Arizona.
Wow.
So I thought when New England was going to pick a kicker, I thought for sure.
Oh, man.
And now they have a
So
great.
you're sweating.
I was sweating. And by the way, they have an outstanding kicker. Andy's outstanding. He's had a great start of the season. Great young man. Great family. I mean, it wasn't really dramatically, but I'm fortunate enough that we got him, and it was as excited as I've been in a long, long time regarding football.
Well, I looked up the stats. So Tyler's 17 and 19, 0 misses from under 50 so far. Andy's 15,
Under 55.
Under 55. Thank you. Andy's 15 to 17, had 2 extra point misses also for Andy. So both good starts. Both good starts for
Playing
sure.
in tough, and both guys.
Right.
You're playing in
Yeah.
Baltimore, New England.
Yep.
And for everybody out there, it's a layup to kick indoors. Okay.
Right.
When we kicked in Dallas against, with Brandon Aubrey, he was going toe to toe in pregame. It was just fun. But you can play 12 or 13 games like this.
Right.
Maybe 14, to play in Detroit or play in Dallas or play,
Yeah.
But that's a layup. But now we actually have challenges to play when we play.
I'm sure also another thing that you're trying to scout is the clutch factor. I know that you take a scientific look at everything. So do you almost take that out of the equation, that being clutch or whatever isn't a real thing? Or is there something tangible to that?
David Akers, Matt Stover, Graham Gano, Steve Hauschka, Will Lutz, Cameron Dicker, Justin Tucker, Tyler Loop. These are the kickers I've surrounded myself with in all these years. And I think all of them have the same trait, and they're all outstanding field goal kickers. Some of them had great careers. Some are still having really good careers, and they are unfazed. And I think you can really tell, and especially you guys who you interact with so many people. You can tell very shortly after you interact with somebody, what are they like? Are they kind of cool? Are they standoffish? Are they arrogant? Are they self-centered? Are they nervous? Like, can they look at you? Can they really look at you? And in all the kickers that I've gone through the years, and the ones I've really, really liked are the ones that, to me, are confident in what they do, because it's you by yourself out there. And it doesn't matter how good of a teacher I am. It doesn't matter how good of a holder you have. It doesn't matter how good of a long snapper you have. It's you. You have to be so confident in yourself in that 1.3 seconds to not change your mind in that time period. That's the part where that NFL kickers deserve more credit than they get, because they're so good now. Like 90% back when I came in this league was unheard of 27 years ago. It was almost unheard of 15 years ago. Now 90% is expected.
Right.
What's really should be expected is an 80% field goal guy with the distances that we're kicking these days. But you got to know who your guy is, because when they're back there, it's so easy to have some self-doubt, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't play inside the right upright. Oh, maybe I should play a little bit more middle. And you need that guy. So the clutch factor is the guy that knows his stroke, that has done it so many times, that game on the line, he's going to do what his process is. And every time you hear Tyler talk about process, it's what is firmly entrenched in his mind. It's process.
I'm curious, Tyler. I want to go back. So along the lines of clutch and wanting to be in that moment, I want to go back to the game in Cleveland. And obviously the Mark Andrews touchdown run is like a moment that's an iconic Ravens play. But if it could have gone the other way, where the Ravens just say, okay, let's kick it. It was a tie game at that point, and it's a 4th and 1. And I'm curious, like, what your process or what you were thinking in that moment, because that would have been the biggest kick of your NFL career to date, and you had just kicked a 44-yarder earlier in the game to tie the game.
Quarter.
Yeah, to tie the game, and that was probably your biggest kick to date, maybe. And so there's something that goes to an even another level, 50-plus yarder at that point in the game to take the lead. Was there any part of you that was saying, like, give me the shot? Like, how were you processing and thinking about that moment?
Yeah. So the one thing, like, I think that's helpful and to have in your head, and in your mental makeup is, like, when it comes down to it, like, you want the opportunity to do it. So even going back to, like, when I was growing up playing soccer and playing other sports, like, there were a few times where it was like, okay, we're late in the game, like, we need a goal. I always played center back, but I knew, and, like, I would go to my coach and I'd tell him, like, please put me at forward. Like, we need a goal, put me up. Like, I will go score a goal here. And that, like, that sort of mental, I don't even know what you'd call, like, tone almost, is something that I think you kind of need to be successful at this level. So when it came down, like, the 44-yarder, I remember I kicked a ball into the net, and I was like, before third down even happens, typically I'll hit 2 when the drive starts, and then every time it gets to third down and field goal range, I'll hit another ball. But instead of hitting a ball, I like walked over because I was like, I'm going to look Randy in the eyes and just let him know, like, this 44-yarder is going in. And so I remember doing that. And then we sat down on the bench, and we always send this, Jordan, Nick, myself, and Randy, and we're like, let's hit a game winner. Like, Nick Moore, love the dude. He is golden to be around, and he's like, let's just do some epic stuff. So he said all the time.
And we want to hit game winners now.
We do, yeah.
Hey, we don't. The play was amazing, right? It's going to go down to
it was an incredible play.
Oh my gosh!
But,
It's like it was one of those things where we were sitting there like, it would be sick to like into the dog pound, which is like the conversation we had before Cleveland was like, going towards the dog pound is the direction of that stadium that is challenging to kick to, and we were sitting on the bench like, it would be sick after hitting a 44-yarder tie, then the next drive coming out and smashing a game winner. We're like, that would be so fun. And so that was kind of the makeup. And like, we were ready for it. And they were like, okay, we're going to go for it. It's like, okay, great. Like, we trust our offense. We trust our defense.
Yeah.
But like during the game, you can see in a player's eyes, right? He makes his 44. And he did. He walked past me, and we looked at each other, and it was just one of those. You got it. I know. I got it.
You gave a little swagger coming off the field. It felt like after that one. It just seemed that way.
Yeah. So we sat down, and I could tell. You could tell he wanted to go back out there again.
Yeah.
I wanted the game winner so.
But
that would have been fun.
He's got plenty of game winners ahead, but the thing is, the way that we do it is in all my years here in the 18 years, I've never once walked over to kicker and asked him, "Can you make this?" These guys have trusted in me, and I just decide if they're going to kick it or not. I mean, Coach Harbaugh has the final decision. It's Harbs' call. A lot of times you'll see I'll be near him, and we'll talk about it.
So you basically give Harbs a thumbs up or thumbs down.
And I've never in 18 years never walked over to a kicker and say, "Are we good here?" Because they know I've got their best interest, but they also know I know their range as good or better than them. Because kickers, they're never going to. The head coach walks over to the kicker.
Miss it.
Head coach walks to the kicker.
Go for it. I don't want it.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good, coach.
You don't want that guy.
I'm good. The hood's feeling pretty warm right now. I'm going to stay right here. Right. So I've taken it off them. Of all the kickers we've had here, you've taken it off. And we just made the decision. Coach Harbaugh and I have made the decision of we're going to kick it or not going to kick it, and it's worked out pretty good through the years.
Right. All right, Randy. So this is the part where you put on the earmuffs. I'm going to ask Tyler this question: what is it like being coached by this guy, who's known as he's the kicking guru of the NFL? What is it like? And he's also a A+ personality within this building.
Shrinking violet.
Yes. What's it like being coached by Randy? You can earmuffs at any point.
So, the first whiff of Randy's incredible personality that I got was when he texted me, and it was a random number, and it said, like how it gives you the name of the contact, like you don't have their number saved. Right. It said Mayor Brown. And I was like, who is Mayor Brown? Because prior to this, we talked for maybe 2 minutes at the combine, like during the field goal session, because the day before when we were supposed to have all the interviews, I got caught up. I don't know how. I got caught up at the hospital for like 12 hours that day. Yeah. I was there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. just sitting in a chair waiting for x-rays.
He was the only guy who missed our interviews, but that's okay.
I literally was the only guy that missed our interview. I got back and I was just like, oh, this is rough. Thankfully my dad was there because like we weren't allowed to leave the hotel past a certain time. I was like, Dad, I need you to bring me food. DoorDash closed when I got back to my room and I was like, oh boy. But anyways, it was a fun like first introduction after the combine because I was sitting down, taking off my cleats and changing. He just comes over and he goes and just waves me over and we chatted for a minute. And then, the first time that we had our workout together at Arizona, and sitting down, I was like, this dude's wired up. Like, this dude is wired up right now, which is a good thing because it challenges you. And he's like, the nice thing is, I think it's a big disservice to players when coaches are dishonest with them. And one thing like Randy won't be with you during practice is dishonest. Like if he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to tell you, and he's going to tell you exactly why he thinks that, what he sees. And like, he lets you know that. And then what's great is you can sit down and look at film. Cause there's a football saying, it's like the eye in the sky never lies. And so we get to then sit down and look at film and really talk about it. And it's been a really cool conversation of like, we talk about loving the mechanics of kicking. And so it's been really cool. And I've really enjoyed my time here. Especially working with him and Nick and Jordan and those guys. Like it's been really rewarding.
I'm curious how you approach training camp, because for all the stuff we just talked about, you were his guy. You were the guy that the Ravens wanted. Like you got drafted, but you still had to win the job. Like it wasn't, and there was competition, and John Hoyland was here at the time, and you had to earn it. Like, and he's a good kicker who challenged you over the course of the offseason and into training camp. But over the course of camp, like you clearly won the job and earned the spot. How did you approach the everyday grind of going out there and needing to deliver and to win that job over the course of the summer?
Yeah. First off, John Hoyland is an awesome dude. Like I loved having him around here. He was, for lack there of a better term, he was like the perfect pace setting competition for me. Cause, one thing that I've always felt really confident in myself about is like, I can hit the ball really far. But what good is hitting the ball far if you don't know where it's going?
Right.
John Hoyland, that dude was so process oriented. Like he came in and it was like, if hell or high water, John was going to hit a straight ball.
Yeah.
And so for me, like coming in every day, I was like, I need to come here and hit a straight ball. Like I can't get caught up in this whole competition of just trying to mash the ball and trying to, hit it and prove for all the flash, like, oh, it's a 68 yarder or a 70 yarder. It's like, no, I got to make my kicks because like we're going off percentages. And John Hoyland pushed me a lot in that. And so that was really helpful for me. But then the everyday part of waking up, like football is a performance business. The day you stop making kicks is the day that your career is like starting to get in jeopardy. Like there's just a few rules of thumbs. Like the day you stop getting better is the day your career is over. Like you're on the downhill after that. And so, that's just my approach to it. It's like, you have to come and perform. You can't not come and perform. You have to be able to rely on all the work you've put in before and all the things like now to be able to improve and perform. So that was something that through training camp was really good for me, I think, and something that I really, really enjoyed.
And the Hoyland thing, so when Eric and George said you can have another spot for a kicker, I didn't want to bring another big-legged guy so we could have a home run hitting competition every day at practice.
That would have been fun for us to watch.
It would have been great for you guys to watch.
A long drive competition every day in practice.
So, so I selected Hoyland just because I knew he hit a straight ball. I know his leg wasn't as strong as Tyler's. So there was a day John goes, because if you guys remember back in training camp, I was alternating a lot because I like the footballs being kicked during practice. We like field goal periods. So John went 9 for 9. Okay. Next morning, he comes in my office like 8:01 a.m. I'm up by myself today, right? I said, yeah, I'll put John down. John's down. He says, all right, I need to go 10 for 10 today. And, swear to God, I need to go 10 for 10 today.
Give me 10.
Give me 10.
Right.
So if you remember, that was the day. That was the day where he was bombing all over the place. We hit like 62, 64, 68. He went 10 for 10, and it worked out. I was very fortunate. But I think John Hoyland's probably going to end up playing here in the spring league. So John probably could play in our league here soon. But it was the competition, and he didn't try to outkick John. He just wanted to use him and John. Honestly, I think he learned a little bit, John, and John learned from him.
With all that said, and you mentioned that you're using the TrackMan devices, what was the longest that Tyler hit in training camp? Because I know there were a lot of oohs and ahs.
Well, the farthest we made in training camp was 68
On a live op.
on a live op, 68 on live op. But TrackMan, we had 74, 75 maybe. I think it was about
yeah,
good, it would have been good from.
So yeah, TrackMan gives you a good from
It gives you.
reading.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
TrackMan gives you where you made it from, but where it would have been good from, just
Right.
like you see on
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football.
Right.
So I
had
believe we're almost
60 we just-
75.
It was 75 on the 63 yarder.
Wow.
That we hit with
That's
the team
right, 75 on the
that day.
63 yarder.
The fun thing was though, like TrackMan only tracks in. So you set it up on the 40. So we had one day where I hit like a 75 yarder. But
Honestly, him and Jordan last week,
Oh
just
my
last
gosh.
week, him and Jordan were mashing the ball. We had the wind at our back a little bit. Jordan hit from 74. Tyler hit
not.
from 70. But,
Jordan on a field goal attempt?
Yeah, off the stick.
that dude's
Now,
leg
granted,
is-
He can get into one.
Granted, 5 might go dead left, right? But one of them's going to be like, wow, that ball's still going. Remember, when Jordan was came to our aid last year with the kickoffs. He was outstanding. We're playing that game in Buffalo at the end of the year where, he puts a ball through the uprights and it's 0 degrees.
Right.
And Jordan was outstanding as a kicker at Penn State too. And, and that's the one thing that we talk about process. It goes back to Coach Harbaugh and I in Philadelphia when we had David Akers, Coy Detmer, and Mike Bartram, and snapping over the ball, 12 o'clock laces, over the spot, 12 o'clock laces. And we've carried that here, of course, with Sam Morgan and Tuck, and what Jordan and Nick and Tyler have done. They've picked it all up, and the process that Coach Harbaugh and I have done for 25 years, we're still doing it today.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
We talk about John Hoyland and the competition against him, but when you were first drafted, Justin Tucker was here, the GOAT of kickers, right? How long did it take before that kind of narrative was behind you, and it was just okay, I'm done with that? And how did you see Tyler handle that? Because that was the storyline when he was first drafted, right? That's tough to come into a place where Justin Tucker had set such a high bar.
Oh man. I'll be honest, I still don't think it's gone, and I don't know if it ever will be. Justin Tucker, like, if you want, just being completely honest, he's the best kicker to ever play. That is
Right.
facts. Like he's been so hyper successful, and he hits such a good ball, and he had such a long career because he was just that good. And the Ravens have had 5 kickers in the 30-year history.
Right.
It was
Stover,
Hauschka,
Cundiff, Tuck,
and you.
and you.
and myself.
Right.
So we had 5 kickers in 30 years.
Right.
Like
Crazy.
there's a pageantry here of successful specialists. And so like that's something that's been really cool to be a part of, because personally I don't feel like I have any claim to that yet. That's something that you like, that's a brotherhood you have to earn your way into. Same thing with like the Ring of Honor, like the all-time greats that have played here, like that's something you earn. And so to be here, like I definitely want to honor the pageantry that's been here and give my all to be successful here. Like that's really important to me. And it's been something really cool to be a part of and be like, hey, like this place has been really successful for kickers, and like the city, the coaches, and the organization believe in me that way. So it's like I want to honor that and give everything that I have to, not
Kind of carry the torch.
kind of carry the torch.
Yeah.
My message to him from the beginning is just go be the best Tyler Loop.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot. My son Tyler has done a fabulous job in Philadelphia with Jake Elliott. And prior to Tyler getting there, I think Jake was coming off a 73% season. And in the last 4 years, they've done 2 Super Bowls, Pro Bowl, and they kick in very similar conditions than we do. And I think one of the first things I taught my son was, whomever your kicker is, just make him be the best kicker of who he is. And do we take pieces of other kickers? Do we like some things? Sure. But Tyler Loop has to be the best Tyler Loop. Cameron Dicker had to be the best Cameron Dicker. Will Lutz, who's kicking great, who was a 56% accuracy guy at Georgia State that we got to just come here and goof around with, is kicking game winners every week because he's the best Will Lutz. He's not he's not a model of Tuck. He's not a model of anybody else. He's a model. He's the best Will Lutz. And I've continued on that with him of just go be you. And I mean, yeah, it's quite the mantle that he has to try to, but just go be great Tyler Loop. Just keep making kicks.
Right.
Tyler, a really cool moment in the preseason was the game in Dallas. You're from Texas, and your family had the Loop. There it is, signs, and there was seemed like there was 50 Loops in the crowd.
30 people.
30 because I wasn't far off. What was that game like, and how cool was it for the Loop family to have that moment in the spotlight?
It was really fun. Oh man, I kicked there in high school at a playoff game, so it was fun to be back there, and especially growing up in Dallas, that was a unique opportunity. It's hey, it's a preseason game, my family's there. At the time, my fiance's sister and her husband were in the area, so a lot of their family got to come stay with them and then go to the game. So it was really fun. It was just really special.
Have they come to any other games? I want to see it every time that you make a field goal. I want to see the Loop there.
Well, the Loop, by the way, has kind of caught on.
Oh, the Loop is 100% caught.
That's caught on. They're not booing.
Yeah. No. It was crazy in Miami.
Miami
was crazy because I heard louder chants in Miami than I ever heard in here.
Ravens fans travel. And if it's a nice destination, warm, they're yes. Yeah.
So that was really cool. But no, Dallas was a blast. And one thing that, I'm super grateful for is I've got an awesome family and a lot of awesome people around me. My fiance is incredible. Love her, and her family is also awesome. And so, one thing that I'm really grateful for is, they've just been super supportive, and have given me the freedom and space to be successful, and have just kind of always been a really safe place for me. My parents came to, I think, almost every single one of my college games, and so they do come to a lot of the NFL games. They don't bring the little banners.
We gotta get this out.
But yeah, it was just having pretty much every major friendship and important person in my life so far at that game. It was really cool.
And when you meet his parents, which is crazy, but I'm older than his parents. Okay. And, but when you meet his parents at we had dinner for the Dallas game before that. And what a great takeaway you have for the stability that he has in support system. And it goes back to the whole mental toughness and all. And you look at these athletes who have really good, solid support systems who are kickers. And that was a win-win for us. It really was. And but having a 35-year-old son like I have, and being older than his parents, kind of okay, how many more years am I really going to do this now at this particular age?
well, you talk about family. I also want to ask you about this, Randy, because this Sunday is going to be a pretty cool moment for you. Your daughter is actually singing the national anthem.
Yes, this will be right. Ryan's fourth anthem she's done for us. She's done 2 preseason games, and last year she did the Eagles game. We've had an incredible summer. This past summer, we did Fenway for the 3rd time. She did Red Sox Dodgers on a Sunday.
That's cool.
The Orioles have been great. She does a couple Orioles games every year. We did Nationals. Actually, I just got an email. They want her to do Wizards game in a week or 2. But she's a college girl now. And it's hard because I could book her all the time.
Are you basically her manager?
Not basically. I am her manager.
That is amazing.
Wait. You know me? You think I'm going to let somebody else be my kid's manager? And my youngest, Jordan McKenzie, who I have to brag about, my youngest, Jordan McKenzie, is one of the most talented actresses you're ever going to find.
Okay.
She's starring in Little Mermaid as Ariel this year.
Wow. Leading role.
2 years ago, she was Annie. And so now we're going through the college prospects of that and auditions. And for the amount of money it's going to cost for me to send her to school, Steve, Eric, John, as long as you want me here, I'm going to need money for at least the next 5 years to get through college.
The manager's going to have to start taking a cut.
Exactly.
All right, last question for me, Tyler, is, you hit the 44-yarder in the wind, late 4th quarter to tie the game. Were you more nervous for that or the post-game speech in the celebratory locker room when Harbs called you up and said you had to give a speech?
Oh, post-game speech. I was I don't know. It's yeah. Post-game speeches are interesting, especially coming from a kicker. it's such. I was talking to Kyle and Roquan Smith. We were having lunch the other day, and they were just asking me about kicking. And Kyle goes, "Dude, you have such a different football experience than any of us." I was like, "Yeah, I definitely do."
Right.
Because the one thing, like, they just expect me to do my job, and that is it. Like, we talked about in the special teams meeting today. Is special teams is the one phase of the game where you were expected to bat 1,000.
Right.
Like, you were just expected to do your job. The only thing that ever gets talked about in special teams is either game-winning field goals or missed field goals.
Right.
Like, or, a fumble on a kickoff return. Like,
Right.
those type of things
Bad
are the
things,
yeah. Bad things are the only thing.
Or
we talked
really,
about.
really great
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that in mind, me mentally, I'm like, I'm here to do my job and do it really well and be the best, high five. Hey, good job. Like just fun person to just support and be around, but then get in front of the team and tell them like how to play football or anything. I'm like, guys, that's not me. So I was just like, I got up there. I was like, what do I say? I was like, this is sick. I love winning. Love you guys. Like, have fun.
Hey man, get it ready for the game winner. Get it ready for the game winner. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then that'll be your moment in the locker room when everybody will be patting you on the back.
Might say the exact same thing.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This is really
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Welcome back to the Lounge Podcast. We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We want to mention our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. So big thank you to Mayor Brown and to Tyler Loop for joining us here today. Enjoy the conversation, insightful stuff from them. And I think the Ravens found a good one in Tyler Loop. I think he's going to be kicking here for a long time. And as Randy said, I think he's got a lot of game winners in his future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the field goal percentages, and he's over that 90% that Randy talked about. Tyler Loop's tied currently for the 5th best field goal percentage in the league. And, the Ravens wanted a kicker that made it from 40, under 50 basically consistently. He's made all of those attempts under 55. And so, yeah, Tyler Loop's getting the job done. And it's kind of remarkable as we came into the season. I think one of the biggest questions about this team was, all right, they have a rookie kicker. This is a loaded roster, but they have a rookie kicker. And how's he going to handle it? And Tyler Loop has erased all those question marks and doubts and concerns. And it just feels like, yeah, all right, we know who we have.
Yeah, I really liked his answer too when he was talking about how he wanted the opportunity for a game winner. And
he's going to have those
that's
opportunities.
What you want. Like you want somebody who wants to take the game-winning shot. You want somebody who wants the ball hit to them in the key moment. Like that's the type of mindset that you desire to have in any of your players, especially a kicker. And so it's awesome that he has that. And I think he's been really good so far. And I think that's only going to continue. So we also want to hit some of the news of the week as the Ravens get ready to play the New York Jets this Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium. It's going to be a great game, and we're looking forward to that. So injury-wise for the Ravens, that's one of the news items this week. Marlon Humphrey missed the game on Sunday against Cleveland, had that surgery on his finger. There's a chance he comes back and plays in this game.
John Harbaugh said he's optimistic.
Yes. So he had the cast brace.
He had a pin inserted.
Well, but before that, he played a game with the cast on his hand.
Correct.
And then if he plays this game, he probably would have some sort of protection, wrap, cast, something like that.
It's okay. He still makes interceptions
Yeah,
anyway.
he still had the interception even with that in Minnesota. So there's a chance he comes back and plays in this game. And obviously his practice status is going to be something that we watch over the course of the week.
You'd obviously love to have Marlon back. I thought Chidobe Awuzie also played an awesome game in Cleveland. So the Ravens are in good position cornerback-wise. They have depth. Now they do have another injury concern. Keon Martin, the undrafted rookie free agent who has stepped in and played slot corner. Kind of Marlon's snaps were split up between Cheeto taking the outside snaps and then Keon taking the nickel snaps. Keon Martin spent the night in the Cleveland hospital after the Ravens' victory. He is back in Baltimore, traveled back the next day.
He was dealing with like a chest
Yes.
injury, John Harbaugh said.
Exactly. So that'll be something to monitor this week if he's okay and ready to get back on the field.
Yeah, and John Harbaugh said it was more precautionary than anything else that he stayed in Cleveland just to get some further testing, and the fact that he's back in Baltimore.
That the test came out clean.
Yeah, they came out clean, so the kind of the worst concerns there were alleviated. But that his status is definitely something that bears watching. Because honestly, like that's the more interesting one is if Marlon and Keon Martin weren't able to play in this game, who do the Ravens use as a slot corner?
Well, Kyle Hamilton obviously can play that, but you don't want to also pigeonhole him into any position.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Kyle Hamilton's going to
he's going to be everywhere.
Hamilton's going to be on the field. There's no question about that.
Correct.
Nate Wiggins and Cheeto Awuzie are going to be on the field, but who's that other additional guy that comes in there in the role that Keon Martin was playing last game if Keon Martin and Marlon Humphrey can't play? Who would that be? And how do the Ravens adjust their defense with that?
Yeah. Anytime you're playing nickel, you could use Kyle Hamilton in that role.
Right.
Then you have Malachi and Alohi as your other two safeties.
Right.
But Kyle Hamilton's played a much more versatile role than that.
Yeah.
So you don't like to pin him down anywhere. And because when Keon's on the field, Kyle Hamilton has also been on the field, so he's been somewhere else.
Kyle's going to be. Kyle's playing 100% of the snaps.
Exactly.
There's no question he's going to be on the field.
Right.
So
I think the Ravens have options, but you obviously want Keon, or you obviously want Marlon, and then if not Marlon, you want Keon.
Right. So we'll see how those guys progress over the course of the week, and if they're able to come back and play in this game. The other note, injury-wise, for this game on Sunday is at quarterback. Tyrod Taylor is going to step in for Justin Fields.
Well, not injury-related. Justin Fields just is getting
roster.
benched.
That's roster-related.
That's correct. But former Raven, Tyrod Taylor, part of the Super Bowl winning team, was Joe Flacco's backup, and credit to Tyrod Taylor, man. He's had a long career. 6th round pick of the Ravens way back when it was 2011, yes. And coming out of Virginia Tech, and Tyrod has just hung around this league for a long time and been a high quality backup for quite some time. So, Justin Fields in that offense, it was struggling. And now Tyrod is a veteran who makes the right decisions, can still get out and get you with his legs a little bit, and somebody the Ravens are going to have to prepare well for.
That 2011 draft class, really, really good class for the Ravens. Torrey Smith, Jimmy Smith, Tyrod late.
Yep. Is Purnell part of that?
Yeah, he was part of that
class.
So that class helped the Ravens win that second Lombardi Trophy, and Tyrod's still going. So Ravens aren't really going to be too interested in taking a trip down memory lane when he's on the other side this week. But
it's just reunion central. Yeah. Joe Flacco comes back to the bank.
Might see Flacco,
now Tyrod.
Yeah, might see Flacco 3 times this year. Yep. Who knows? Now Tyrod. Speaking of the AFC North, let's take a quick look around there. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh is dealing with a fracture in his left wrist.
His non-throwing wrist.
Yep.
Right.
So uncertain. Mike Tomlin said this week, basically they're going to have some measure of protection on that wrist, and he's going to try to go later in the week. And if he's able to get out there and practice and play, then of course he will. But it's very much a question mark for them going into this game. So
right now they're rolling with Mason Rudolph in the early parts of the week, and Mike Tomlin said basically if Aaron Rodgers can get back on the field Friday and feels good about it and feels secure and the coaches feel good about it, then he's not a guy that you need a full week of practice. He's Aaron Rodgers. And so then he could potentially play, and that Aaron Rodgers is pushing to play.
Yeah.
For the Ravens, it feels like unless he were to have some kind of setback in play and it gets re-injured or further injured, it seems like Aaron Rodgers will be ready to go against the Ravens, of which they haven't played each other yet.
Yeah.
And so those big matchups against the Steelers are still looming.
Yeah, the other big note is in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase is suspended for this upcoming game for spitting on Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. And they're playing the New England Patriots this week. They're 3-7 right now. Now they're without their best player in Jamar Chase, who's going to be sidelined.
Well, he is appealing the decision, so we'll see if he serves it for this game. Why doesn't he serve it? You know what? Play this game, appeal it. You might win the appeal,
right?
Might appeal it, might win, even though there's video evidence otherwise, and then maybe serve it the following week for Thanksgiving.
That's a good thought.
Just a suggestion.
Who do they play on Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I think serving it then is good.
Yeah. So I mean, in all seriousness, he's currently suspended. Reports are he's going to appeal. We'll see where that lands.
Right.
And I certainly would expect that appeal to be completed prior to the game against New England this week. But
right.
but they would be 3-8, and then you start to wonder about what the implications are for Joe Burrow, who's working his way back, and they've said that the Joe Burrow is pushing to come back and play, and the plan is still for that to happen. But does being 3-8, if they were 3-8, does that alter the game plan or the approach at all? Mm-hmm. I'm not totally sure. But that's obviously a big storyline in Cincinnati this week, and especially with the Ravens facing them on Thanksgiving night. It's all connected.
Yep, absolutely. That'll be one thing to watch this week. Well, thank you for listening. As always, you can reach us at the lounge at ravens.nfl.net, and we will be back with you later this week to talk about more news from the week and preview that big game coming up against the Jets.